thanks for coming back to my St. Baldrick's blog. I appreciate you guys continuing to tune in. Hope you guys have enjoyed everything so far. In this episode, we're going to talk about the BC, the USC, and then the Navy games. And if I can't fit it in during the episode, what I'm going to do is include at the end the clips from the actual TV copies of everything. And I think the quality might be a little bit poor, but just so you guys can see that and kind of hear what the commentators were saying, it was pretty neat on my part to go back and listen to what they actually said. It was really incredible, some of the things they said, and I really thank them for doing that. But basically, to start out the BC game, it was a pretty uneventful game. The way they had their Vicers playing was they'd play off about 7-8 yards and inside and just try to bail. And I'll include a couple clips, but as you'll see, all Bruton and I did was just stem them inside, and then we'd get head up to him, and then we'd fake one way or fake the other way and get him spun around, and then we'd get down in the returner's face, and he pretty much fair caught everything. So really nothing big happening that game. But we'll get right to my favorite game of all time, and that was the second favorite game of all time. Michigan, my senior year, was my favorite game of all time. But up to that point, USC was by far the best. And I mean, going into USC week, it's just, that's all I thought about. I'd go to class, but it was USC, USC, USC. And tell you what, if you can't get up for this game, you don't have a pulse, because this is what basically I was thinking about ever since I came to Notre Dame. Was like, hey, I want to play against these guys. I'll never forget my freshman year, I was in the stands because I walked on in the springtime for the Bush Push, and I really wanted to get after these guys personally. And so I got that opportunity my junior year. And I'll never forget, the first play was McKnight. Bruton got pushed into McKnight, so McKnight kind of muffed the punt, and I came in from the side, and you'll see from the clip that I'm going, it's just I came in and just put my head straight into his stomach, just trying to get that ball jarred loose. And I come out of the pile a little bit, but then you'll see me kind of squirm back in and make my way in. And I was fighting. We were probably in the pile for maybe 15, 20 seconds. But I was just doing whatever I could to kind of put my arm in between his stomach and the ball, and then I was just trying to rip it out. And if I had 2 or 3 more seconds, I had that ball, because that was in my arms, but he still kind of had a little bit wrapped in there, so they gave it to him. But I'll never forget. You can't really see it in our cut-ups, but I'm hoping that one of the game clips has me kind of in there, because you'll see my feet just keep chopping the entire time. And I'll never forget coming out of that pile. That was the first play I was in all game, and I felt like I had played about 60 plays because my whole body was just completely fatigued. But ended up Joe hurt his ankle that play, so he was out for probably about a quarter and a half, which was good because he's such a talented guy that anytime you can keep him off the field is a good thing. But then you'll see on the next play that I have up there, the returner ends up clapping his hands. I'm running, I'm right in his face, about to tackle him, and then you'll see he claps his hands, and that just throws me off for whatever reason. I don't know if I subconsciously thought he was fair catching the ball or what exactly it was, but I've never seen that and never have seen it since. And like I said, it caught me off guard. You'll see I practically run right by him as he starts his return, and I'll never forget just being like, what just happened there? But then the first tackle I have, you'll see I beat the Vicer, and then I'm coming across and I stack him. Every time you beat the Vicer, you want to try to stack him so that the only place he can block you is in the back. And he ends up actually pushing me in the back, and so I start to fall to the ground, and I see the returner just right in front of me, and I say, you know what, there's no way I'm not making this tackle right here. So I literally just start to crawl as fast as I can to get to this guy's legs, and right in front of him I just throw my arm and end up tripping him up and getting the tackle. But it's kind of funny because I didn't get a call from the refs there, and I think that kind of helped later on in the game, because I think the refs had a couple makeup calls with penalties. But it was just so funny because people were like, oh, great tackle, great tackle. And I was like, look, that was just survival instincts right there. I just said I was getting it one way or another, and it wasn't pretty, but I'll take it. So then the second tackle I get, I ended up coming from the side, and I wanted to block off the side of the field, but also not let him return it up the middle. So he ends up going towards the sideline. So I just immediately take a pursuit angle and end up again. I can't get on a solid tackle, so I just lay out completely and just try to take out his legs and end up getting him that way. And then another play that I made, and this is why this game was just so special for me, because not only was it against USC, but I ended up just making a ton of plays, and it felt so good because, like I said, I mean, they're number one on my pedestal with a Michigan, a very, 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 very close second, but USC holds a very special place in my heart. And so then when the ball, so the next play you'll see that I put up there is the ball kind of bounces in front of the returner. So as soon as I see that, I'm kind of right in front of him. I pause for a second because I think this Vicer doesn't know what's going on. And so I try to pull him in front of McKnight to try to have the ball, when it's bouncing up in the air, hit this guy's helmet, and it almost hits his helmet. But McKnight steps up and takes the ball for whatever reason. And he starts to return the ball, and I spin off the Vicer and come and jump it on the tackle, and you'll see it's, my buddies gave me a hard time about this. They were joking around with me, but in the pile, I immediately just go for the ball, because as soon as anyone stood up, that's the only thing I'm thinking about. And so you'll see me rip the ball out. I mean, it's a second or two after the play happens, but I was always just like, I'd rather try to do it and see what happens as opposed to just, stopping right away. You'll see me kind of crawl after the ball, trying to get it even, like I said, after the whistle's been blown for 3 or 4 seconds, but, I'm a clown like that. But, so, everything happened like that, and then was when the really fun stuff started happening, because on the next play you'll see I'm on the bottom of the screen. The ball's kicked completely to the right along the right sideline, and I end up getting a holding call out of it because these guys have been kind of holding a little bit, and as I said, I think I got clipped on that one tackle I made. So the refs end up getting in for a holding call there, and then the very last play I'm going to show you was probably one of my favorites because it was just instinct for me. I was running down the field, and I saw McKnight kind of giving the fire call, which means he's not going to catch the ball because it's a short punt. And so I'm running full speed, and he's starting to take off the other way. And the Vicer has his arm over my back, and it was literally just instinct. I went back to the good old wrestling instincts, and there's a move called the Jap Whizzer where someone puts an arm on your shoulder, and you grab it with your two and roll through and throw him. And you'll see I grab his arm, and then I grab with my other arm and try to hip him over. I don't get my hips through, so I don't get a full toss. But you'll definitely see that I get him going over a little bit. And the refs actually took that as a clip and threw a penalty flag on that play, so ended up getting a few extra yards for the team while I was trying to have a little fun with one of the USC players. I'll never forget hearing Pete Carroll just start screaming for this kid to get over to him, and as he's coming over, he goes, "How the hell are we going to stop this little kid? He's 4 feet tall. What the hell is going on?" And he's just going on about it. And I'm just sitting there, I jogged off a little slower there, just kind of laughing to myself because, I mean, for someone like that to get so frustrated with me was just something I truly enjoyed. So, Pete, sorry for getting you guys, but I wish I could have done a little bit more, although you guys, I'd love to have one more game against you guys. And then finally, the Navy game, don't have much for that. We never ended up punting that game, so I was on the sideline the entire time, never got a chance to go out there, which was a good thing because one of the hardest things for both myself and my family was, how do we cheer for me to get on the field? It's like a bad thing when I get on the field because that means we're punting. So it was always like, hey, I want to get plays, but on the same token, I don't want to get plays. So that is that. And the next episode I think you guys are going to enjoy as well because it has both the best play I made all year and then the worst play I had all year in the following game. So it's actually probably the worst play of my career. So watch the next one, and thank you guys again. Take care.